Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK Journey video. In this video we're on the Pioneer server, which is just officially launched, and we're going to be looking at the skills of Peggy. Now keep in mind this content is subject to change by official release because this is Pioneer server for testing, but currently these are the skills which Peggy has. We're going to do a deep dive and then also talk about her usage so far. Now her ultimate ability, Princess's Rally, begins with 600 initial energy, which we did spot when we went over the skill trailer video, and that is definitely going to be helpful. Now the passive portion of this is when a battle starts, Peggy will summon 2 royal guards to join the battle, and they're going to inherit high amount of health, even tankier than Peggy, but like a lower amount of attack, as you guys see here. If Peggy is defeated, all royal guards immediately will leave the battlefield, and now the active cast of this ability, her ultimate, she'll blow her horn, instantly healing all remaining royal guards for an amount equal to their maximum health. If there are fewer than 2 guards remaining, she will summon a new royal guard to the battlefield, basically to get back up to that number of 2, but only 1 is actually going to be added here. So if both of them are dead, for example, she's probably only adding 1 with her ultimate. And then Peggy then orders these royal guards to protect all allies for 12 seconds. During this time, now it's basically a Callan. During this time, 70% of the damage taken by all allies is shared evenly among the guards, while the guards' own HP loss damage is HP loss is reduced by 75%. So this is actually big. This is basically a Callan skill, but it's going to be shared among 2 different bodies, and these bodies are going to have a huge amount of health, 160% of Peggy's health. And so if she's able to get off her ultimate, she's going to provide so much protection, and this is among all allies. It's not even a range to it. Like, you know, Callan has like a 2-tal range. There's no range, at least from the skill description. And then not only that, they're also going to reduce the HP loss coming in. And this should be all forms of damage, like it doesn't mention specifically, but you know, true damage, HP loss damage, that should all be reduced. If we take a look at Callan, because we have to compare it to Callan, because that's basically the other version. Yeah, look at this. Physical or magical damage is reduced by Callan, not true damage, not HP loss damage. When you upgrade it, then it increases. It absorbs to 80%, but it is a physical and magical damage. At least that's how his skill reads. So Peggy is different in that it should be all forms of damage by her royal guards. So like, this is very strong for protecting your team once you can get that 1000 energy, which is going to be pretty fast. And actually they've tuned it that Rowan synergizes well with her, because Rowan gives 400 energy with his energy potion, and that is going to allow Peggy to get an instant ultimate off in the fight, or maybe even using Theodore with Peggy. But basically, yeah, Rowan Peggy already having 2 light bursts complete. I'm seeing a lot of basically potential usage here, and for PvP it can be probably run even in multiple comps. It doesn't even necessarily even have to be a summoner comp. Just go for more of this protection, like her utility in terms of the guarding and the damage reduction. That's pretty good, and it will last for 12 seconds. So yeah, already her ultimate is actually pretty insane. I'm a big fan of the ultimate skill. Now next up, Royal Scroll is her skill 2. This one has an 8-second cooldown, initial of 2. She'll open a magic scroll, healing all remaining royal guards and 2 other weakest allies. For Peggy's 180% of her attack multiplier, HP per second for 8 seconds. And this is ticking every second for 8 seconds. Pretty big healing, honestly. 180% attack multiplier every second, which will be healing on her royal guards, also 2 other weakest allies. That is really strong. That is a strong skill, definitely a big amount of healing from here, and pretty decently low cooldown. It's basically just gonna have permanent uptime, right? 8-second cooldown and you know, 8 seconds, and if you have haste given to her, it's gonna be even faster than 8-second cooldown. Okay, next up, Royal Barrage, here's skill 3, 12-second cooldown, initial of 0. Peggy summons a royal marksman in the backline to assist in battle, so this will be instant from the beginning of battle. The marksman inherits 100% of Peggy's attack and fires 3 volleys of armor-piercing arrows, dealing damage to 2 frontmost enemies. Enemies hit by the armor-piercing arrows take 22% more range damage for the next 5 seconds, which is strong. However, it seems this is only going to be hitting the frontmost enemies, right? Damage to two frontmost enemies. Enemies hit by the armor piercing arrows are going to be taking this bonus range damage. So probably the enemies in the backline will probably not be susceptible to this damage amplification. During this time, allied summons range damage against affected enemies is increased by an extra 14%. This is what we saw from her skill trailer. So she's going to boost range damage from all heroes, but even more, she's going to boost the damage output even more of your summons characters, your summon range heroes for this one specifically. Then level 2, level 3, level 4, the extra range damage dealt to enemies hit by armor piercing arrows is increased to 25%. And for allied summons, their additional range damage increases by another 20%. So in total, these summons are going to be hitting 45% damage amp onto that target, and that is going to be really strong for Dream Realm. Like, if you're going to be trying to overwhelm the field with summons, and that's going to be your damage source, this is actually going to be pretty crazy for Dream Realm. So yeah, already I'm basically saying I think Peggy is a really interesting hero. I think she's definitely bringing probably enough to the table that you're gonna be able to use her in PvP, definitely, even for the protective role and the healing, even not necessarily if you want to use her in a summoner comp. And in Dream Realm, along with summoners, she has massive damage amplification. Now next up, hero focus, increase her haste by 15. That will make her cooldowns even shorter. If 2 royal guards are on the battlefield, further increase haste by 10. And at the beginning of the battle, you have those 2 royal guards, so she's gonna have 25 haste right from the beginning of the battle, which is strong to cycle like her other skills on cooldown. Okay, now Royal Protection, her exclusive skill, is pretty big as well. Now, the Royal Guards can alternate between normal attacks and Royal Sword moves, while Princess's Rally is active while the ultimate is running, right? But dealing 200% attack damage to all enemies within 1 tiles and gaining a permanent shield equal to 80% actual damage dealt. So there's a bit of bonus cleave damage as well as some shielding. However, that is not the key part of her exclusive skill. As we saw in the skill trailer, this is just kind of like a bonus. The major part of exclusive skill you're going to see later at level 3, the Royal Guards gain 1 tile glory aura. So basically, any ally of yours who's within 1 tile of either of the Royal Guards, all other allies within the aura will deal 30% more melee damage. This melee damage bonus is increased by an extra 25% for allied summons. Now, this is crazy because if you could then now even think about using her in a melee hypercarry comp, whether it be Sylphira, whether it be Perseus, because what you will just have these royal guards up front. They're gonna boost the melee damage of your melee hypercarry, and if you have melee summons, they're also gonna have that damage boost. And summons don't have to stand on individual tiles; they can all group up together right by the Royal Guards and be getting this aura and basically having, again, huge damage amplification. And gonna give her that Dream Realm angle basically for a damage amplification of both your melee and your ranged summons. So if you're using her with Aurora, Floribel, Peggy, and even maybe Lamentis, the new hero, you basically you can actually deal maybe more damage with your summons than actually having other heroes on the party. And okay, increases damage of Royal Sword move. And then the refinement, like level 2, level 4, this is basically pretty much the same. I don't think she's going to be a major priority. The supports generally are not going to be the biggest priority to be upgrading with the refinement of exclusive equipment. But anyway, it is here if you guys are interested in that. Okay, the Enhanced Force, the final skill of Peggy, which was not shared in the skill trailer, like it never is shared, the Enhanced Force. When 3 or more allied summons from different allies are alive at the same time, all allied summons gain attack equal to 30% of Peggy's initial attack, and physical and magical defense equal to 40% of Peggy's initial physical and magical defense. So basically, big attack buff of 30% and 40% defensive buff to all allied summons, but the condition is you need to have 3 heroes which have allied summons on the battlefield. Because look, 3 or more allied summons from different allies are alive at the same time. So for example, if you're running probably Aurora, Peggy, and Lamentis, or Aurora, Peggy, Floribel, that would be 3 different allies having 3 different summons, of course, at a minimum. And then you would probably trigger this effect. Now, if you only have Aurora and Peggy, right, and no other summoner on the team, I don't know if this is actually going to trigger because it says 3 or more allied summons, which you can definitely have even with Peggy and Aurora, but they have to be from different allies. So that's basically the thing. But anyway, Peggy is looking pretty good. Now what I want to do is we want to go to the trial stage, take a look at it. Now the Royal Guards, they're not placeable. They're going to be summoned right at the beginning of battle. Same with the Archer. And so these are not actually going to be like, you know, Zany's Towers, Foresto's Clone. It is not going to be that same sort of basically mechanic. If we go ahead and take a look at the AFK stage, I'll show you right over here that you will not be able to place those units. And this is important because that will mean that these units actually qualify as summons. Because if they're placeable in the battlefield and team select, they don't count as summons. Now, when you place here, what I'm interested to see is where do the guards spawn? They spawn right by Peggy. So for example, like let's say, obviously, we're not talking about AFK stages now. I'm going to talk about PvP. If you have like a Perseus and you wanted to make a Perseus melee comp work, you can do it like this, and you can do it with Rowan. So basically, just looking at this, what's going to happen is Rowan's going to boost, or actually even better, you can have Rowan like this. You can have Rowan like this. So what's going to happen is Rowan's going to boost the Perseus like melee damage. You're also going to get the Peggy almost instant ultimate because of the energy potion of Rowan. So if we just take a look at what happens here. Look at this. So you have the Royal Guards providing that aura. She's immediately going to get her ultimate off because of the Rowan energy potion. And now look at this value you can basically think. So like just this core of Rowan, Perseus, Peggy. This could be one comp you consider because of the melee damage boost of the aura. And I'm not saying there's a top tier meta PvP comp or anything like that. I'm just saying giving you some ideas and some budget comps where it will be usable. Definitely with Lamentis is what I'm most looking forward to. And we're going to make a video on the full skills of Lamentis right after this one. But that's basically it for Peggy. I think overall I'm very excited for her as a character. I definitely am going to be recruiting her. I'm probably going to max Paragon upgrade her as well. I think there's enough in her kit for me to definitely be able to get value from her from PvP. And so I want to invest into her for Paragon 4. And if she has that extra Dream Realm usage, that's even better. But yeah, I think she's a very interesting hero. I think for other players, you can get her to Supreme Plus. You don't have to Paragon upgrade her. She's not like probably going to be a major Paragon upgrade priority, depending on how good she is in PvP. But she could be about that Callan tier PvP priority. So like, if you're really investing into your Callan for Paragon upgrading, you want to maybe also consider investing into Peggy because, yeah, this damage reduction is insane. However, it is a little bit more counterable because it is dependent on her ultimate. So if the enemy does a Lily May, the enemy has a Dunlinger, then you're not going to get this damage reduction, right? So it's a little bit like you need to invest a bit more to get this off, but when it's off, it's going to be more powerful than even a Callan, and that is really strong. So overall, interesting hero, good hero. I think that definitely consider recruiting for her, but at the same time, we do know collab is coming up. And so, of course, you want to be careful with your resources in case they give us another crazy collab. I'm predicting it probably will not be anywhere near as crazy as Freerin. That would just be insane. But you never know, right? So let me know your thoughts about Peggy in the comment section down below. Are you hyped for her? Are you planning to pull her? Let me know. And which team are you planning to use her in? Which game are you planning to use her in? Let us know in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. That's going to be it for this video. And if you're thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Firelight store. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus dragon crystals on your purchase. My affiliate link is in the description of this video in a pinned comment, and you can actually bookmark this link in your browser, and whenever you're planning to make a purchase, just return to the bookmark link and make your purchase. It will support me and be greatly appreciated. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.